So I mean, for me, I mean, the whole thing was is I didn't really care how hard the trick was. You know, it's like it never really that almost didn't really matter to me how hard the trick was. It was more like, you know, um, did it look good? You know, like was did you think it out? Was it something that you were trying to, you know, did you have something in mind that you were doing? You know, that's what the whole point of the whole thing was. I don't really understand the big like 540 spins to now. Granted, some people do it really good, and I can't never do that trick. So again, I'm talking out of the side of my ass. But but to me, it just if you can't make it look good, then what's the point in doing it? You know,
Hmm.
it's like it's not enough. But I mean, again, that's just my opinion. What the fuck do I know?
Yeah.
But if you can't make it look good, I'd rather see you do a front side that look good. You know, and my whole point was to the average person that doesn't know skating, they don't understand it. They understand something that looks good. You know, but they don't understand how hard the big spin that the thing is. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. You got to make it look good for
Yeah.
people who don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at least my opinion. Fuck. I mean, yeah.
Well, I agree
For
with you
sure.
that a little bit too, because obviously style is a lot, and it's hard to watch somebody skating who isn't like the most stylish skater, even if they are doing the craziest tricks. But I think that's just a generational thing also, because back in the day, style, I think. Not saying that there's no stylish skaters now. There's a million stylish skaters now, but
Yeah,
it was like more
there is.
like we called each other out more when tricks didn't look good back in the day than people do now. You know?
Yeah. We also didn't have that. Those tricks also weren't even imaginable. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
you
true.
kind of everybody could do a top soul. So
Hmm.
you kind of had to do it and make it look really good. You know.
Yeah. I guess when frontside royale and solo are the only tricks you have for like a year, you
Yeah,
bet
right.
you better make it look good if you're doing it for that
Better
long.
make it look fucking great.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, even
Um,
Julio. I mean, John Julio has never been the most super technical skater.
Mhm.
You know, like I mean, maybe at his time he was pretty technical. So don't get me wrong, but he's got he only does a handful of tricks in his bag, really, but they all look really fucking good. You know, like he makes everything look fucking awesome. So you know, he could do soul grinds the rest of his life, and I'd still think that he's the best skater in the world because he just makes them look that good.
Hmm. I feel like you
yes.
appreciate people
Speaking of
more.
John Julio,
Go,
speaking
go.
of John Julio, sorry, got to mention this because you were on a team with John Julio in England and
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Latimer, which was, man, heck of a video that movie volume.
Yeah, that was fun.
And yeah, you had some good projects between that and the second regime. I was just curious, out of those, if you had any like fun stories or good experiences there.
So there's tons of good experiences. I mean, it was just such a long time. England was a lot of fun. Um, because at the time, when I got onto it, it was just John. And John Julio was always my favorite skater, and so to get able to be on England was just fucking huge. And
Hmm.
so that was always really a big thing for me is to be on the England team, and then of course Dustin. Dustin is probably one of the best skaters ever. Of course.
For sure.
Uh, but yeah, that was an epic team to be part of. Um, the best team I think, as far as the most memories that I had, was the USD team. When it was coup d'état and doing all the summer trips with them in Europe and stuff like that. Those were
And
always
that tour,
yeah.
USD tour video.
Oh,
that
the one
one
where I was hurt.
tour.
Yeah, that tour, that was a lot of fun. I didn't get to skate much, but that was when I was on my way out.
Hmm.
But the earlier stuff, like filming, when it was just the original team, when it was me, Shima, Arlo, the team that made the coup d'état video. That was probably the peak for me of fun and skating.
Yeah, you were on USD from like the very beginning, pretty much, right? Like the first team, everything is set up. What was Were you
I
on
was
from
actually
like
Me and Dustin were.
the
It
first?
was called Upside Down when me and Dustin
Yeah,
got into it.
yeah.
Hmm.
The skate was a blue skate. It was blue. We me and Dustin and Shane. Why can't I think of his last name now? Shane from Mind Game.
Coburn.
Um, Yeah, Shane Coburn. And Arlo kind of made that company, into what it was. And then we were like, okay, well, who else do we get? Okay, and we kind of pieced, I said Julio for sure, but we didn't know if we could get him because Rosie's was such a big company and they were paying him so well.
You came
In
from
the back
Rosie's
of my
too,
mind,
didn't you?
in the back of my mind, I think John always made more money than me secretly, though. So,
On USD?
yeah, I think he had a sweetheart deal that none of us knew about.
Damn, we got to ask him about that next time he's on the show.
Yeah, please do, because I want to know. I want to know what they were paying him,
Yes.
because it wasn't the $800 a month I was getting.
Dude, I remember seeing a quote from you in Daily Bread in like one of the quote sections, like around disinformation, and it said you were talking to someone and said, "Yeah, you're gonna be sucking my D when I get that $25,000 check from Upside Down Skates." Remember that?
Really?
I was I was probably joking. They never gave me a fucking. I took a huge pay cut to skate for USD. Huge.
You came
pay
from
cut.
Rosie's too, then, right?
Yeah, I took a stupid pay cut.
Just
I was
because
like
you
making.
felt the vision more?
Yeah, it was. I was probably. I think I was making like $2,500 a month. On Rosie's. And then getting flown around and all that stuff. But the thing, me and John. I mean, I spent a lot of time kind of planning stuff out with me and John a lot, about the kind of what we wanted skating to look like. Because we always watched skateboarding, even though we kind of fucking skateboard, but we would look at it and like, oh man, we really we need to get skating to this kind of level, where skaters own the companies and where skaters have the say in what the companies make and the logos and the design and the name, and where skaters have a pro wheel and a pro frame and a pro skate, because pro skates had never happened back then, really, except for Chris's tarmacs.
Yeah.
And so, we were like, oh, we need, skaters should get royalties off their pro skates, then they can really make some money. So the idea was, okay, I'll take the pay cut, to $800 a month plus a royalty from a pro skate, and then, you figure, okay, well, I'd make the back end on the skate and the frame and the wheels, all together, and the royalties off that. Of course, they never really added it up to enough, but to make it worth it. But really, the whole thing wasn't about money. It was about making, changing skating. The idea of how you could make money skating and also how you could make a brand, because back then it was like the skateboard companies all had the cool deck companies. You skated for, they skated for Shorties or Toy Machine or and we just had like Rollerblade or Rosie's, like K2, which was cool, but it was all big name brands. It wasn't anything like skater owned or anything like that. It's all corporate, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the idea, and then once the whole team kind of got put together, it really became a cool idea.
Yeah, it must have been quite the pitch to get everybody on there, because you had huge names like you said, Latimer, John, Julio, some of the biggest names, Arlo at the time. So
everybody was into the idea, though. It wasn't about the money. It was everybody had a vision of kind of what we wanted skating to look like in 5 years or so, and that was just felt like a crucial step, and then also at the time that, there was no frame companies besides 50/50, but who was buying really frames then, you had to buy their whole juice system and then chop the other frames off your skate, so it also brought around the whole thing of, a skate with a frame, and you could customize the whole thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Putting the 50/50 frames, especially with like the juice system and stuff too, like you're finally able to customize the skate.
Yep. And it kind of, to us, it looked like it was like the deck, the trucks, the wheels. It was the whole thing, Mm-hmm. You could skate for this deck company, this truck company, this wheel company, and piece it all together. And we finally kind of had that in skating, where before you didn't have that. You skated for K2 and that was it. You skated for your Rosie's and that was it. You had your grind plate sponsor or whatever, but you didn't ever have a pro skate that was Josh Petty's pro skate with his boot and frame and wheel and grind plate all together packaged, with a signature on it and everything. Mm-hmm. So it really was kind of revolutionary, for the time.
Definitely was. That's even hard to get now because even a lot of skaters now get pro skates, but not like a pro frame on it, pro wheel, pro grind plate. Like that's super customizable to what it is now. Usually now you get like a boot. That's it.
Skating was huge back then. You know, I mean, it was so much bigger than it is now. I mean, you would go down in California and drive down the streets, and there'd be packs of skaters going by. You know, every time you went to the skate park, there'd be packs of skaters, different crews showing up. So it wasn't like it is now, where like maybe every now and then you see one guy skate by or something like that. You know, it was really kind of a cool time to be in it.
When we see another skater now, it's like when two dogs see each other walking on the street. You're like, "Hey, you, you skate too,
yeah." You heard of this?
Barking at each other and shit.
Yeah, right.